Hello everyone and welcome back to another 5K tennis discussion. Today is Thursday, March the 12th, 2020. And we're here to get right into tennis talk. So let's get going. You ready, Carla?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's get down. All right. As we all know, no, wait a minute. Hold on. Can I get that in Spanish real quick, Carla? Can I get that, please, in some Spanish? Español, por favor, mamacita.
Really?
Let's go.
Fine. Hola y bienvenido a otra discusión de 5K Tenis. Hoy es el 12 de marzo de 2020. Vamos! I can't use that. No, I don't like that.
She talks so quiet. It sounds like the mouse creeping through the house on Christmas Eve. You know, you couldn't even hear the mouse. She's.
You want me to go loud?
Like, vamos, let's go.
I can never do that.
Come on, let's go.
Okay, hola y bienvenido a otra discusión de 5K Tenis. Hoy es el 12 de marzo de 2020.
Show some excitement in this piece. As we all know, Indian Wells has been canceled. Miami has now been canceled, and the ATP, that is the men's tour, has announced that the tour has been suspended for now 6 weeks, potentially farther, because over concerns for the global pandemic, and that is coronavirus. The ITF has also canceled the Fed Cup finals in Budapest in April, as well as another playoff in Mexico. The National Basketball Association, American Basketball, has suspended their season, at least indefinitely, after one of the Utah Jazz players tested positive for it. I think there was some odd press conference with that guy where he was like touching all the stuff, which I thought was pretty non-professional. So if you don't know what we're talking about, one of the American basketball, one of the NBA players tested positive, and he went to a press conference and proceeded to like touch everything and kind of. I don't know if he was trying to be comical or what, but
he was trying to be comical, but
it was really stupid.
You can tell he was not educated.
Yeah, it wasn't a good look there at all. But the only reason why I mentioned the NBA cancellation on our tennis channel, we got to be careful. Someone out there may say we never talk about tennis again. Yeah. You remember someone was like, "What's the tennis channel that never talks about tennis?" And I'm like, "How is that? That's all we talk about." But I bring it up the NBA because
it's just a hater. Like Nas says, you can hate me now.
And I won't stop now.
Yeah.
All right, so the reason why I mentioned the NBA, though, is because I did want to give a shout-out to the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, Mark Cuban, and let me explain why. This is the first guy that I have seen across all sports now which have been impacted, where, you know, the guy that owns the team, and again, the Dallas Mavericks is an NBA basketball team where Luka Doncic plays, Porzingis plays there, a lot of other guys. Good team. Anyway, one of the difficult things about being a tennis player is it's just you generally and your surrounding team, especially if you're a struggling player. But however, Mark Cuban, because the NBA season has been canceled, made a statement, you know, there's people that depend on my stadium being open for work and for their livelihoods and so forth. So he pitched out, he wanted to have his financial team around his billionaire status to devise a number that could forecast how he could take care of those people until this suspension was done.
Bravo, because there's a lot of people that are going to suffer because of this.
Yeah, so I'm giving Mark Cuban a huge shout out for that, big time. Maybe that sets the paradigm for people across all sports. However, I bring that up because this is an impossible feat in tennis, because the tennis player doesn't go to a fixed home stadium every night to play. They travel to everyone else's stadiums. The tennis player doesn't have big advertisements, at least not yet, all over their shirts that get them $1 million for, you know, a big logo on the lapel or something. It's just a different world. So if the tennis player travels, i.e. I was going to say younger, that would have been misinformed. The struggling lower tier tennis player that's just getting by paying their bills month to month by sending money home to the wife and kids or girlfriend and kids or parents or whatever, and they're traveling around literally month to month, biting their nails and hoping they win a challenger match. So when stuff like this happens and they cancel tournaments, you know, the Miami Open's not going to retro and go pay the player. Any of these tournaments that are on the chopping block to be suspended, and I have them listed here in a minute, they're not going to go pay the player because it's closed. But here you are in other sports that it may become reality because of someone like Mark Cuban. Unfortunately for the tennis player, they don't have any way of getting anything like that.
No, they're not. They're screwed, right? Big time screwed.
So good job for Mark Cuban. He understands that these people need to have hourly pay and pay. But unfortunately, again, for a tennis player,
well, yeah,
there's no one out there.
You got like the guy we all know, Jeremy Chardy.
The Frenchman.
The Frenchman. He's close to retirement because he's in his late 30s. Got married recently.
Just had a kid, I think.
Just had a kid. Hasn't played any tournaments. And for him, he said, "I'm unemployed." Or am I on my paternity leave? He's like, this is bad for me because financially he depends on playing tennis, and he was hoping to play many tennis tournaments, and now he can't. And he's in France.
Well, yes. I'm thinking Jeremy Chardy has been on tour for a very, very long time.
But if you live a certain lifestyle, Justin, you know how it is when you're getting money, right? You live a certain lifestyle, you buy a bigger house, now you have cars, now you have a wife that's used to or accustomed to a certain way of living, and now no money's coming in. You know what?
Well, that's a flip of a coin argument debate there, and you can chime in on this, everyone out there. Jeremy Chardy is obviously a multimillionaire, and I understand that he has or he or his family respectively have a certain way of living certainly lavishly, and maybe because of that certain level of living lavishly or however he lives, and maybe it's not lavish, but I'm sure it's not, under a bridge type thing,
right.
or in Airbnbs traveling around in subpar hotel rooms, sharing them with 3 other people. I'm sure it's not that cup of tea, right?
No, I'm sure it's not that bad, but still.
So what I'm saying is my argument for these players that are going to be destitute, Chardy wouldn't even be in the equation. It's not humanity's fault if someone, and I don't know, this might be just a big a farce anyway, what we're saying, or what you alluded to about his lavish lifestyle potential.
No,
I don't think it's lavish.
It's not lavish.
I think he's upper class in a way, but I don't think he's riding around a Bugatti, Chardy. But I'm assuming he lives well.
But it's not just him. There are players that are ranked in the 500s that go to these
but
challenges.
that wouldn't be synonymous with Chardy.
No, it wouldn't be.
I'm just calling a spade a spade. Chardy, in my opinion, would not have been in my thoughts pertaining to my original statement about destitute players that are stuck with no chance of being paid retro by the owner of a stadium.
Sure, but it's
Chardy, I think, will manage. I think if he can sell maybe,
Can I talk or no?
Sorry.
Are you that excited that I can't talk today?
My bad, you win.
I win. I'm just saying, anybody that lives a certain lifestyle, how many football players have we seen that we know are millionaires and they got nothing? You got MC Hammer that we thought was a millionaire, has nothing.
You can't touch this.
All it takes is something to change, for your lifestyle to change. You're busy paying thousands and thousands and maybe more than thousands, and before you know it, you have nothing. We don't know when the tour is going to come back.
Well, I think your comparison to American football players is the lack of knowledge or being aware.
Well, how do you know Chardy doesn't invest his money right?
Well, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. I guess the moral of the story here is I was alluding to hourly paid workers that are struggling month to month.
Sure.
I don't think that's Chardy.
No, definitely not Chardy. I agree with you on that.
I think you can look at players like you said, somewhere around maybe 100 in the world and beyond that have never cracked the top of the game. Chardy's been there and beaten some of the best in the game.
Someone like McDonald, but maybe he's
Mackenzie McDonald.
Maybe even Millman, because Millman just started.
What about D. Minor? What about the?
He's fine.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, young and upcoming players that are really trying to do stuff, and they're indebted out of the yin yang because they haven't really financially succeeded yet. I think Chardy is well on his way to being retired comfortably. I think, however, you have to look at Chardy with his discussing this even in the first place is maybe he invested his career earnings over his career incorrectly. And
right, that's what I'm saying.
So maybe
we don't know.
So I'm more referencing those that have never even had the opportunity to invest their money because they don't have any yet. Is what I'm saying. Do you see what I'm saying? Or not enough to survive. All right. So the current list of tournaments that are currently on the block for suspension, if not already, are the following: Miami, which already is; Monte Carlo, Madrid, Rome. So Rafael Nadal is probably like, geez. And by the way, is Roger Federer happy? Not happy, but is Roger Federer more relaxed?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because the French Open may be canceled?
Can this guy, this guy just gets a break at everything. This guy does everything perfect. Gets injured at the perfect time, He's just relaxing, not worried about anything. Here, Novak Djokovic was on a roll. Now he's cooled off for a bit. It's like, He's like, yes, these guys can't get titles. They might freeze the points. A lot of players are saying, let's freeze the ranking points since we can't play. It's not fair that they're losing points. So he is like, yes, yes, yes. He's happy.
Yeah, I think he's exceptional. I'm not going to say happy because this global pandemic, no one is happy.
No,
but I think he's breathing a little bit
he's
easier.
Like, yes,
he's
like, I'm Roger Federer.
Yeah, and I don't think that this cancellation affects in terms of what happens when the season restarts. I don't think it affects Novak Djokovic.
You're still going to practice no matter what.
You're still going to practice. Surely the biggest names in the game have their private facilities. Obviously, Nadal has his academy.
So does Novak.
I think Djokovic has his own deal. Roger Federer has his deal in Switzerland. And surely they have it. It's theirs. They can say, everybody out except for my team close to me. And we'll proceed to stay fresh. Djokovic, again, we were hoping he might have an opportunity to do a calendar slam, but if it doesn't happen, that would be the only thing that I think would be kind of negative for Novak Djokovic is his desire to do a calendar slam, since I think the last person to do it was Laver, who did it twice. Correct me if I'm wrong.
And he gets to be home with his wife. I had that picture sent to me by Michael Walker.
Who is that?
Djokovic and some groupies.
Oh, okay. Anyway, you can show that. You can show the picture.
So I had Michael Walker sent to me. He says,
"What's up, Brooklyn? What's up, New York?"
He says, "You think?"
No, he's in Jamaica Town, I think.
He thinks you think this girl's body's real. I don't know why he sent me that, but
all right, let's go.
But there were a lot of fans laughing at this picture, and I was laughing too. I'm sure his wife's happy he's home.
Yeah. No, he's true. All right, so let's.
Well, it's not good to be surrounded by plastic. So.
Well, since, by the way, we were talking about Novak Djokovic, I want to skip ahead real quick to an article I read this morning that concerned Novak Djokovic, but actually was in lieu of the Japanese player Taro Daniel. So I came across this, or we came across this morning. Actually, you shared it with me while you were taking the kids. But Taro Daniel, the Japanese player, proceeded or took an opportunity to make a stupid mistake, in my opinion, and that was to call out Novak Djokovic and tennis as a whole for potential preferential treatment to the top stars. So what I'm going to do is I'll explain this. She can read the comment or the exact quotes, and we can discuss it. So, Taro Daniel basically insinuated that Novak Djokovic, the greats of the game, Nadal, Federer, maybe they get tipped off to information before anybody else, so they can stay overprivileged, and the rest of us can just suck it up. I call bullshit on this. I do. We have talked about this for at least two weeks or more now on the show since we mentioned this potentially happening. If you had $140 million in prize money and access to your own private jet, would you hang around and wait to see if a tournament 2 weeks or 3 weeks down the road was going to be played? Or would you go ahead and fly home to safety knowing that if you need to come back, you can fly right back? Or would you listen to Taro Daniel coming up with some conspiracy theory that this is something he knows and therefore he's leaving and he's stuck there because he doesn't know yet? That's bullshit in my opinion. Djokovic has the resources to a plane. He deserves it. He's the best in the world now and arguably the greatest of all time. Of course he should fly home. That doesn't mean that Taro Daniel should sit in his hotel room and come up with some conspiracy theory, throwing out some BS. Shut up, Taro Daniel.
Well, okay.
Shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
I'm going to go back to life. Anybody who has money, and not just in sports, in anything in life, if something were to happen, some chaos, they would be the first to know anyways, because that's how life works. That's just how it works, right? Are you telling me that if they knew we've seen this in movies and many things. Always the ones with more power and money always know first.
What's that? Tupac?
They always know first.
What was that Tupac song? I see no changes. What's that song? Changes? Check that out.
And I'll read his quote, but as far as Taro Daniel, I can understand his frustration. It's not Novak's fault. It's not Nadal's fault. It's not anybody but that's in the top game. They're going to know first. That's common sense. But I understand being in their shoes, how they feel.
I do understand.
You have freedom of speech. He's allowed to say whatever he wants. I wouldn't tell him to shut up. That's how he feels.
Certain places
when you don't like grunting, you say how you feel. So He can say whatever he wants.
Well, yes and no. Okay, so
do you want me to read what he said?
Yeah, well, it's an opinion when I say I don't like grunting. It's an opinion. But in terms of when you call out someone for having preferential treatment, when it's just the fact that homeboy has his own access to his own plane.
I would leave.
You would leave. So that's all I'm getting at is sometimes there's an old saying, and I think it was Will Rogers that said this quote. Never pass up an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. And another one, something like this. It's a whole lot easier to let the cat out of the bag than to put it back in. So
that's what I tell you, but you never take your own advice. I think Tennis Sir said, he said, my mother always said, if you have nothing nice to say, just be quiet.
Well, okay, yeah, exactly, and I agree with that. I think with what we do here with our much loved family out there, that I mean it's debatable, but I'm not sitting in front of the world media talking about someone that I don't know and have.
Yeah, he shouldn't.
I'm just saying I personally don't like grunting.
He shouldn't have said Djokovic. He should have said some players because now. You're going to be in the locker with this guy when you guys get back, and I'm sure Djokovic is going to be a bit uncomfortable around you.
All right,
but I'll read the quote. It says,
let's ask Taro Daniel out there. Taro, if you had a private plane, would you already be back in Japan?
He's from the USA.
I thought Taro Daniel.
Is he Japanese? Oh, you're right. He is Japanese.
I don't know. Look that up because let's get that right. Because again,
you're right. I think you're right.
I'm fairly certain, and again, I should.
Yes, he's Japanese.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So, first of all, let's read the two Twitter or media posts that Taro Daniel let out there for everyone to suck up.
So he says, Djokovic is leaving the U.S. before any tournament. Post Indian Wells are canceled or postponed. What information am I missing? And then there was a picture of them, in their jet, I guess that.
Okay, so he's conspiring to say that everyone knows what's going on. Hypothetically, I'm exaggerating.
Then he says, I know, and 98% I assume that the tournaments won't happen. But he's head of the Players' Council and leaving, which means they're not officially telling us something.
Okay, now before, however, you read Novak Djokovic's kind of response per se, what he basically indicated is that because he's Novak Djokovic and because he's head of the Players' Council, that he's getting tipped off. What in the heck does the Players' Council have to do with, that's to control the players, what's going on, their benefits, how they're treated,
I'm sure he knew ahead. I'm sure he's right. I'm sure he knew ahead, but
I don't think so.
He is, he works at the ATP.
But I understand that.
But it doesn't matter that he's leaving. That doesn't matter.
The head of the Players' Council has zero to do with whether Miami or Monte Carlo or
they don't.
Saying the tournament's going to happen or not.
That's what
he's looking out for the players. That doesn't mean he's on the.
That's not what I'm saying, but I'm sure
what are you saying?
I'm sure they told Nadal, they told Wawrinka, they told Djokovic, hey guys, we're canceling before they told the other ones. I'm sure. You can get all.
I disagree. I don't think
then you're
that
naive
way.
of how life works.
I'm not naive.
You're naive in how life works.
I think Taro Daniel's crying and frustrated. Obviously, He's frustrated. Okay, I say things I don't mean when I get mad.
He's thinking money. He's thinking, how am I going to survive? That's what he's thinking. I can put myself in his shoes, but Novak Djokovic is not the person to blame.
What does Novak Djokovic say in response?
He says, my advice to the guys that are still in the United States is to return to Europe in the next 48 hours or even sooner.
Okay.
He says this one yesterday, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because, why did he say that? Because the president of this country, Donald Trump, made a European travel restriction that there couldn't be any traveling of humans, not parcels or mail, but humans back and forth. For 30 days. So unless they go back, then they're not going to get back.
They're going to get stuck.
So let's stop being Taro Daniel. Look, he's frustrated. He's frustrated. Look,
it's not Novak's fault. It's not anyone's fault. It's just life. Right?
Yeah, look, when I wake up in the morning and I got something to say pay off a bill and I can't pay it, I'm frustrated. Am I not, Carla? It's life.
Anybody.
But I don't start blaming the freaking neighbor who I was going to say there's a neighbor I don't like, but our neighbors are awesome, actually.
They're awesome.
We love those people. But anyway, let's say I had a neighbor I didn't like. I'm not going to blame my neighbor for my shortcomings. And nor can you conspire that Novak Djokovic is in the know and he left. The fact is he's got $140 million simply in prize money, much less the endorsements and etc. For him, it's a taxi cab fare to get in his jet and fly home and see his wife and kids who may or may not be with him. It's a no-brainer. It's a vacation in a sense. But don't start conspiring that the dude's, some back-broken politician that's hiding things from the masses, Taro Daniel, because that's cheap. Just saying. That's cheap. Homeboy just went home. Look, Taro Daniel, if you had a Bugatti in your driveway, would you drive it? But how are you going to slander Novak Djokovic over that?
He'll probably apologize the next day.
Grow up, dude. It's not your fault you suck.
Oh my God.
Just kidding. It just upset me. You don't suck. You're much better than I, obviously. But don't slander Novak Djokovic, who's been through enough. Gee whiz. And conspire now that he's a crooked politician because he's flying home.
Yeah,
he's
not crooked.
He just got it like that.
Yeah.
Don't hate, congratulate. Play a hater. Shoot. Step off, bro.
So ghetto.
All right, we're going to close this show with the topic. And this topic, I think, is very important. And this topic has to do... we might get to that one. Depends on time. I had a topic, 4 of them, but we may not get to them.
Okay.
We might have to save them for tomorrow. But this one's important. I definitely want to get this one in.
Sure.
Over the past year and a half, Carl, on this show, we have talked about this topic in a different context a multitude of times. That topic is equal prize money across men's and women's tennis, right? This topic has to do with actually equal prize money across men's and women's soccer, and if you know it by football or European football, American football, is throwing a ball and getting drilled, right? So I say that openly, or objectively rather. So this is about soccer equal pay. So currently, the U.S. Soccer Federation, that's like the governing body, right? The U.S. Soccer Federation is in an ongoing court battle with the U.S. women's soccer team. 28 total players have created a $66 million lawsuit against the U.S. Soccer Federation for the reasoning that they are not treated equally. They don't have the same anything, really. And I'll describe that a little bit more. But so you have plaintiff, the women, you have the defendant, the U.S. Soccer Federation, and they're batting heads because the women feel like they are not treated equally. So the U.S. Soccer Federation releases this quote about their justification for allowing this to happen openly. It's not a secret, it's truth, and they have stated why it's true, or why they think it's true. The quote from the U.S. Soccer Federation is this, quote, "Male players have more responsibility and the men's team requires a higher level of skill than their female counterparts," end quote. Okay? Wow. Number one, wow.
Are we living like in ancient times or something?
My first question in response to the U.S. Soccer Federation, do any of you have children? Or if you do, were any of you in the delivery room with your wife when you watched the babies come out? Or if you haven't had children yet, have you watched a video of what goes down when they do so you can understand what their bodies go through and how we extend our societal future implications by growing as a population because of them.
That was a disgusting comment. This is going back to a women's tennis when equal prize money. Don't they train the same? Don't they have to run the same type of field? Is the field shorter? Or is it the same length?
Same length.
So they're running the same amount of people in the teams, opposite side?
Yep.
Okay, they have to wear the same shoes, same ball size?
Same ball size.
How is this different?
Same
They're playing in
time
the
limit.
sun, right?
Same rules.
Same weather?
Same weather.
Okay, so who's the stupid person to decide that?
Now let me ask the U.S. Soccer Federation this. Obviously, all these people are probably egotistical men.
And haven't the women gone further than the men in soccer?
I have that written here. Yes, you are correct. Same brainwave.
I mean, really? Because of the women is more exciting to watch than the guys. The American guys suck. Just saying.
I wonder if any of the U.S. Soccer Federation men that are making this ridiculous and hideous call, I wonder if any of them are married happily and actually hang out with their wife and love them wholeheartedly and actually watch them go through their menstrual cycle and see what it takes out of them, how they change emotionally, how they change biologically, how it affects their training. I've watched Carla train for a long time and train hard. Gym, court, off, circuit training, agility, da-da-da-da. And there is a marginal difference in how you can train during that period of time. Am I wrong, Carla?
No, you're not wrong.
And it may not be physically, but it's emotionally, it's different. Is that their fault? I wonder if any of those Federation dudes would have been born if it wasn't for a female.
Let me tell you, here's a U.S. champion. They have won 1999, 1991, 1999, 2015, 2019, and then they had gold in 1996, 2004, 2008, 2012. That's more than the guys.
All right, so the U.S. Soccer Federation, by the way, quoted this. They are so certain in their reasoning for non-equal pay that they are certain that a 12-person jury will agree with them. They're so certain. They're letting it go to court instead of tarnishing their image when they lose, which they will. In this world in 2020, with everything we got going on...
And do you want to know how many medals the guys have in Olympic, the USA team?
How many?
Last one was 1904.
Now check this out. The women's argument as the plaintiff is that they train equally and they are denied at least equal travel, at least equal training, and at least equal playing conditions and the promotion in their respective games that they play. The women, by the way, have been far more successful than the men, by the way. The women have won 4 World Cups and 4 Olympic gold medals. The men have only went to the World Cup quarterfinals in 2002 and failed to qualify for the 2018 World Cup. And you want to take out the...
This is what we got to do. Let's not go to this men's game. Strike. No one go. And that will prove the point. If you don't go, no money.
Well,
no money.
Yeah, I mean, obviously,
Sorry,
no worries. Obviously, there won't be any competitions with 100,000 people watching these matches in the next 6, 8, 10 weeks.
But I'm just saying in the future when they come back, just don't support the men's team.
I think based upon, now this is just talking about U.S. This is the U.S. Federation.
US, yes.
But I think maybe they should pay now the U.S. men's less and pay the women more because they're actually holding down the sport in this country. Like currently for me, your dad is a great soccer player and grew up that way. I'm not a huge fan of watching it, but I know it's a great sport with wonderful athletes abound, and I respect all the athletes. But for me in the U.S., when I hear soccer, the first thing I think about is women. I think about Hope Solo.
I think of them running, taking off their shirts when they won. That's what I think. The excitement of it.
I think the last U.S. player I remember was Lexi Lawless, just because he had like this weird hair, like up, whatever. But I don't think I remember any other ones.
I don't know any other ones.
But the women, yes. But the men, no.
Yeah.
Anyway,
just like USA men's tennis.
Right? Well, yes, and that I think is another thing you can relate back to.
But they're not dumb enough to say let's not pay the women the same.
Yeah, because they would get annihilated here in the media.
Yeah.
There was one thing I wanted to mention. Oh yes, as we end this show, if for some reason the French Open, i.e. Roland Garros, does not happen, just to be a nice guy, I'm still going to do a tennis racket giveaway. I didn't even tell her this yet because I thought she might gripe at me until she listened to the whole deal. So if the French Open doesn't happen, we are still, we are still going to do a tennis racket giveaway, which is for this Yonex V-Core 97 racket. It's slightly used. I used it for a little while. Was a little bit heavy for my swing speed, but awesome racket. Same racket that Wawrinka has used and a lot of other players. Very nice racket, 4.5-inch grip. But if it gets canceled, we are going to figure out a competition of sorts. Maybe it's a poem competition.
Maybe someone hitting a tennis ball. I don't know. Something creative.
Yeah, we're gonna come up with some. If the tournament doesn't happen, we will come up with a creative competition to give away the tennis racket. Which means if we come up with a creative competition, unlike the Australian Open, if you don't select your winners, the racket doesn't give it away. Someone's going to win it. So if the French Open does not happen and we are not able to do our fantasy teams or tennis racket giveaway competition, we will still do the tennis racket competition and we will make it a competition. Maybe it's poetry. Maybe it's a 5K logo design. Maybe it's a live video with whatever. We'll figure something out, but it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. All right? So much love to all of you, everyone. Tennis will continue here. It always does with all of your comments. Wonderful tennis minds out there. There's no way it can stop. We coach it every day. We talk it every day. We live it every day. We have a match today with our 2 oldest boys. And we will be in Mobile. Actually, in comments below when this downloads, put in comments if you guys have any interest in the following, because I don't want to burn any bridges or make people hit unsubscribe if it's boring to them or stupid. But we have a match today in Mobile with our oldest boys playing a high school match. My oldest son has a real tough time with the kid he's playing and actually has never beaten him.
hell?
But he seems to think he's going to destroy him today.
He should beat him. This is the type of player that he should beat, but for some reason gets into his head.
Because the kid pushes it back to him.
He has a two-handed backhand and a one-handed backhand.
Yeah. So
both of them, and he can volley. So my tip to him was keep him deep.
Yeah.
And to that backhand side.
So my oldest son is a better player, and I mean that not just because of my son. He's a better player fundamentally, power, his aggressiveness, his tenacity, his athleticism, better across the board. But he plays this kid, and he always loses. He gets upset, starts yelling, and it's just not pretty. Sometimes I can't even watch it. But what would you think? Because, and I mention this because our ability to do a live video, a stream a live video turned on for us a little while ago. It wasn't able to be done, and we haven't done one since here on the island because the signal is so weak. It comes across pixelated and it's all delayed and slow. But we'll be in Mobile, Alabama this afternoon, and I should be able to do one there clear. Would anyone like for me to do, or for us to do a live feed of that match? And I don't know if I even can, because the kid's probably 18, 17 or 18. I don't know if I can do that legally, can I?
I don't know.
I have to look that up. I don't know. If I can do it, maybe I can just do it where I'm on the side of my son's receiving. Then there would be a bunch of live clips, I think. I don't know.
You could just record his side.
I'm too stupid for this. Anyway, much love. Take care. Tennis will not stop here. We love y'all. Let's go. Let's get down. Come on. Vamos. Let's get down. That's how we roll. Boom. Take care. See you later. Peace out. We'll see you tomorrow. Are we free?
I don't know. Friday.
We'll see. Let's go.
Bye-bye.